So I get people coming to me often, either in mid-career or even straight out of business school, saying, well, how do I become a virtual CEO? Of course, I don't tell them it's meaningless. The role that I play and the role that position I've taken in the companies that I work with and the role I play in the Valley is very idiosyncratic. It's very peculiar to me and my own strengths, weaknesses, and sort of idiosyncrasies. What I find is extremely effective in doing what I do is having an extremely broad range of experiences. What I've done in my career is I've managed, I worked in rock and roll production. I worked in community development management in the East. I taught early in my career, and I teach again now. I was a lawyer. I was a trial lawyer. I was a transactional lawyer. I then moved on to becoming a business lawyer inside Apple, and then moved on to being a business development person, doing deals. I moved on from that to co-found a company, Claris, and at that point, I was just describing this to John Doherty the other day, was asking me a little bit about this. I basically did everything that moved. Anything I could get my hands on, I did. I did facilities, I did HR. If it was a problem, I grabbed it, rather than trying to define a role. And I learned a little bit about all of it. Didn't necessarily do any of it well, but I did a lot of it. And then I moved from there to doing another startup, Go, and that time I became a CFO. I didn't have a clue what a CFO did, except from what I observed at Claris before I went to Go. But Campbell thought I could be a CFO. And first weekend, I learned to use a spreadsheet. That was my beginning of my CFO career. I was a CFO, handled a lot of transactions there, and then essentially became a COO in that company, then became a CEO. And then a CEO again, and then basically stepped back and redefined it. And so it's this mix of stuff. I've seen most every domain inside a company, and I've seen many different companies, hardware companies, software companies, media companies, music businesses. And so it's this eclectic group of experiences which I think give me my own particular approach to how I work with companies and how I can sort of fill in this very flexible role, helping to nurture and guide founders and emerging leaders and emerging businesses. So I think it's peculiar to me. It's peculiar to my sort of peripatetic nature.